Hello everybody. Today's video is something a little bit different. It's still along the lines of thrifting and hunting for vintage or antique items. When I'm watching my YouTube videos that I like, or when I'm out hunting for vintage items, the subject of butter pats always seems to come up, and they appear to be highly collectible and also at times very hard to find. In my area, I can honestly say I've only ever found one butter pat, and it was a red transferware one, and it was several years ago. So because I want to follow the trend and I really like them in decor, I've been hunting for them quite a bit in the last few years, and because I have been unable to find any, I thought about it and decided, well, maybe I could make my own. So I thought I would insert this here just so everybody can have a laugh. Before I thought of the idea of making my own butter pats, I thought I would go online just to see what I could find and see if I could find any for a fairly cheap price. So in my search, I came across these two sets. One was a set of 6 and a set of 10. And this one was under $10 and that was under $5. So I thought, now those are a really good deal. So I ordered them. Then when they came in, I had a really good laugh at myself because look at the size of them. And I did not do my due diligence and check out the size. And needless to say, they're not very good. So that's when I came up with the idea of making my own. So I've been attempting this in the last few weeks, and I will show you here a couple of my attempts. These were my original ones. They did not turn out very uniform. I was freehanding them. I have this one little bowl. I think it's a Japanese sauce bowl for like soya sauce. And what I was doing, it's a little bit deep for my liking. I think the butter pats are a little bit less deep. So what I decided to do was just use this one for size. And I was laying my air dry clay, which is this brand, Crayola. I had this in my stash, so I thought I might as well try it, and it says it's white. It looks gray, but it dries quite a bit whiter or creamier. So I was freehanding it over top of this bowl, and the first one I did was hard to get off. It stuck to the bowl quite a bit, hence why the shape of it is so oddball. My next one I thought, well, I will grease this little bowl. I used olive oil and I tried to put it over top. It's a little bit better, a little bit rough coming off, but because I was freehanding it, I still didn't get it really uniform or really smooth. I went ahead and I painted these, and I'm just using DecoArt white acrylic paint, and then I sealed them. I had this DuraClear satin varnish, and it dries clear, it doesn't yellow, so I sealed them with that. They have been drying a couple of weeks. For the first couple of weeks they would stick together until the varnish got really hard, but now they're doing okay. So I thought I'd walk you through the process. I have refined it a little bit since. These are a few other attempts. Sorry, I bumped my camera and it's wobbling. This one was another one that I used. And this one I rolled out with a rolling pin to try to make it more uniform. And I've already sanded it down. I use a very fine sandpaper I have this craft sandpaper, goes all the way from 150 up to 400. So I've been using those to sand it down. And this one is ready to paint and put the sealer on. I don't think I can get it any smoother, although the back side is a little bit rough. But because it's on the thin side, I didn't want to push my luck. The next couple, I decided to go a little thicker. So I rolled them out thicker and pressed them on. And the thicker ones were easier to get off the bowl. So these ones have not been sanded yet. They're ready to sand and finish. And this one I made, I think it's even a little bit thicker. This one has been sanded, ready to paint. And the last one I made, I tried to make it even thicker because the ones that I like, the butter pats I like, are like the restaurant where they're quite thick. And yeah, so I tried a thicker one. This one feels very solid, quite heavy. It's ready to sand down the edge. The back is quite a bit smoother. And paint and then seal them up. So I'm happy with their turning out, the way they turn out as they get a little bit, as I get better at doing them. As you can see, these last two I did fit together, stacked together quite a bit better, and they are the thicker ones. So I think I will continue to make more, and I will use these in my decor until I luck out and happen to find some butter pats in the wild. And so I thought I'd take you along with me and just show you a little bit of me sanding them and smoothing them out and painting them. So I'll just continue with the video, and I'll put on some music for you to enjoy, and you can watch me finish off these. Oh, and I wanted to mention, after I'm done sanding, I use this brush just to brush out all the dry bits that are in here to make sure it's smooth. There is quite a bit, and it does make quite a cloud, so I would recommend that you wear a mask if you are subject to any dust particles or anything, because it does get up in the air quite a bit. And also, when I'm making these, I let them dry a good 24 to 48 hours before I do any sanding. Rolling them over a couple of times once they've stiffened up enough to move them, to make sure they dry. And what I roll them on is, I have this tile. It works really well to remove them off of it when you roll it so it doesn't stick. And the other thing is, in between painting and the sealer, I also give it 12 hours drying time, just to make sure it dries really well. So with that said, if anything else occurs to me, I'll pop it in here. But for now, I'm just going to do a little bit of work on these. Okay, so I'm going to call this one done. As you can see, there are still some imperfections in it. That's just the way this air clay dries, and I don't think there's a really good fix for that, but I'm happy with this, the way they're turning out. So now we're going to move on to painting, and we will let that one dry, and sealing. And then I am going to finish off the rest of these, sanding them, painting them, and sealing them to get them all done. And when they're finished, I will come back and I will show you what the stack of them looks like. And hopefully that'll give you some ideas if you can't find any butter pats and want to attempt this yourself. The other thing I forgot to mention is after I take this off of the bowl, as you can see, I flatten them out a little bit, and I do that, I pull them off, and they do get a little bit misshapen coming off the bowl, but then I just go around with my hand and reshape them gently. And I start out by laying it this way so I can press down gently and flatten them a bit, let them dry for a few hours, then flip them over and keep going with that process until they're completely dry. So if you have something in your cupboard, maybe you actually have a butter pat and you can use it for a mold, then go ahead and do that. This just happened to be the closest I could find to the size I wanted. So with that, I will continue on working with these. I'm going to paint this one now, like I said. I'll let it dry, I'll seal it, let that dry, and when I'm done them all, I'll come back and show you the stack. So there they are, all painted, and I just want to mention that it took 3 coats of the white to paint them to the depth that I wanted them painted. But this air dry clay really sucks up the paint quickly, so I didn't have to wait too long between coats. As a matter of fact, by the time I got all of them painted once, I could go back and put the second coat on the original one and just keep going with that. So that's 3 coats on them all, and now I'm going to let them dry really well before I add the varnish to them. So I'll come back and I will show you them once they're all painted and I've moved on to the varnish. I forgot to mention when I was telling you how I made the butter pats, that after I rolled them out with a rolling pin, I used a donut cutter to cut them out. I just removed this center piece. This is a vintage donut cutter. I have a couple of them. So it appeared to be the perfect size, the right size for what I wanted. So I rolled them out and I cut them with the donut cutter, and then I formed them over the little bowl, and that seemed to work perfectly. Well, I finished up my butter pats, so I wanted to give you a last look at how they turned out. First, on the right, these are the little bowls, the ones that I used as my mold. And I think they're just a sauce bowl for like soy sauce, etc. And I didn't give any measurements, but these are a 2-inch in diameter bowl, and they're maybe 1/2 inch deep. The butter pad I mentioned earlier, the only one that I have is this one. It's from England. It's a Mason's Vista. And as you can see, they're quite a bit shallower, even more shallow than what I made. And I could have used it, I guess, as a mold when I was doing this, but I didn't want to ruin it. It is the only one I have ever found. It's about the same size, maybe a touch bigger, maybe 2 1/4 inches in diameter. Anyways, this is how mine turned out. This is my stack, and that's what everybody likes to see, is how they look when they're stacked. Now these bowls, I think, are a type of porcelain. They're not ironstone. Everybody prefers the ironstone, and I really like the thicker ironstone, as I mentioned, the restaurant ware. This one is quite thin. It's ironstone, but it's not thick. So mine are stacked in order that I made them, and as you can see, the bottom ones are more uniform. The top two are my original ones that, well, honestly, they're crooked as heck, but we're going to keep them. We're going to use them. And the bottom ones did turn out quite a bit more uniform. So I may even make a few more. I'm quite happy with the way they turned out. And even stacked, they're going to look okay in my cabinet. So that's my fix for not being able to find any butter pats in the wild. I hope you enjoyed the video, and maybe you'll give it a chance and try it yourself. Thanks for watching. I love spending time with you, and I really appreciate that you took the time to watch my videos. See you in the next one.